Somewhere, thousands of years ago, a group of ancient humans discovered something strange. They had never seen anything like it before. They didn't know what it was. They didn't know where it came from. But one thing was certain. It smelled unusual. It looked different. Most people would have simply walked away. But someone didn't. Someone was curious enough to taste it. Within minutes, something changed. Their head felt lighter. Their body felt different. And for the first time in human history, a human had just discovered alcohol. But here's the real mystery. Was it really an accident? Or did ancient humans eventually learn how to make it themselves? No factories, no bottles, no written recipes. Just nature, curiosity, and human instinct. Today, we're going back thousands of years to uncover the fascinating story of how ancient humans first discovered alcohol. Let's begin. The surprising truth is, humans probably didn't invent alcohol. Nature did. Long before the first village, long before farming, and long before written history, alcohol already existed. It could appear naturally, without a single human touching it. Imagine a hot summer day. A tree drops its ripe fruit onto the ground. Days pass. The fruit begins to break apart. Tiny wild yeasts floating in the air land on the fruit. These microscopic organisms begin feeding on the natural sugars. And as they do, they create something unexpected: alcohol. This process is called fermentation. It happens naturally, even today. No fire, no tools, no special knowledge. Just fruit, yeast, and time. Many scientists believe this is probably how ancient humans first encountered alcohol. Not inside a bottle, but inside overripe fruit lying on the forest floor. And humans weren't the only ones. Even today, many wild animals accidentally eat fermented fruit. Elephants, chimpanzees, and even some birds have been observed eating naturally fermented fruit, although scientists are still studying how often this happens in the wild. So imagine an ancient human walking through the forest, hungry after a long day. They notice sweet fruit on the ground. It smells different, maybe even sweeter than usual. Curiosity takes over. They take a bite. At first, nothing seems unusual, but a little while later, something feels different. Their body feels warmer, their mind feels lighter, and without realizing it, they may have experienced alcohol for the very first time. But was this just a lucky accident, or did ancient humans eventually learn the secret and start making alcohol themselves? That's where the story becomes even more fascinating. At first, fermented fruit was probably nothing more than a lucky discovery. But ancient humans were excellent observers. They noticed patterns. If sweet fruit was left alone for several days, it changed. Its smell became stronger. Its taste became different. And it made people feel different too. Little by little, they began to understand that this wasn't magic. It was something that happened naturally. Researchers believe that over many generations, people started repeating the process on purpose. Instead of waiting for fruit to fall from trees, they collected it. They stored it in animal skins, wooden containers, or clay pots, depending on the time and place. Then, nature did the rest. Wild yeast in the air began fermenting the fruit, just as it always had. No one knew what yeast was. No one understood chemistry, but they didn't need to. They simply learned from experience. If they followed the same steps, the same result appeared again. This was one of the earliest forms of brewing. Not the beer or wine we know today, but a simple fermented drink created by nature itself. As human civilizations grew, so did their knowledge. Different cultures began experimenting with different ingredients. Some used grapes, others used honey. Some used rice, while others fermented grains like barley. Every civilization developed its own methods, but they all shared one thing in common. Their discovery began with the same simple process: nature turning sugar into alcohol. And that raises one final question. If ancient humans learned how to make alcohol, why did they keep drinking it for thousands of years? The answer may surprise you. So, why did ancient humans continue drinking alcohol? The answer wasn't simply for fun. In many ancient societies, alcohol became part of everyday life. Researchers believe that in some civilizations, It was often safer to drink fermented beverages than untreated water. The fermentation process could reduce some harmful microorganisms, although it didn't make every drink completely safe. Alcohol also became part of celebrations, religious ceremonies, and social gatherings. Over time, different cultures gave it different meanings. For some, it was a sacred drink. For others, it was a symbol of friendship. And in many places, it became an important part of daily life. What's truly remarkable is that none of this began inside a laboratory. It began with something as simple as fruit, left alone by nature. A discovery that was probably accidental eventually changed human history. Today, alcohol is produced in factories all over the world. But its story began thousands of years ago, with human curiosity, careful observation, and nature doing what it has always done. Perhaps that's the most fascinating part of this story. Some of humanity's greatest discoveries were never planned. They were simply noticed by people curious enough to ask, what happens if I try this? And that single question has changed history more times than we can imagine. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, because history is full of incredible discoveries, and we're just getting started.